Cross-shopping between segments and body styles is a common sight now. People have genuinely reached out to me asking for an opinion between an SUV or a sedan. In my mind, I was thinking, how can you ask me to choose between a watermelon or a banana? Sounds silly, I know, but the fact is, people don't really care what segment or body styles they're shopping for. What they want answers to is whether or not they will regret their decision. When the Myvi facelift was launched, many were comparing against the Ativa, asking which one should they go for, and I think it's a very valid question.
You see, despite the range-topping Myvi AV priced at 58,000 ringgit 800, it's 13,200 ringgit cheaper than the equivalent range-topping Ativa AV. When you break it down into monthly installments, it becomes quite a viable case. So in today's video, I'm going to break it down to you whether should you go for a turbocharged SUV or the undisputed king of hatchbacks. Hello everybody, this is Adrian for WapCar.my and I'm all about the details. So enough chatter, let's dive straight into it. Being an SUV, the Ativa has a taller sitting and driving position so you get better outward visibility. To a lot of people, they give them a greater sense of security, especially when driving in the city. Not only that, the Ativa has a larger boot space compared to the Myvi, so it's more practical for family use. Interior, the Ativa wins hands down because it's a much more premium place to be in, or rather it gives you a more premium perception compared to the Myvi. You get a nice floating touchscreen, digital clusters, modern multifunctional steering wheel, but the Myvi still feels more airy and spacious inside because in the Ativa everything is just around you, surrounding you, so you do feel a little bit tight. Rear kneeroom. Surprise, surprise, the supposedly smaller Myvi has more kneeroom compared to the Ativa, which is an SUV. Now, this is because that Perodua has done some very clever packaging in the Myvi by kind of making the front seat backs a little bit thinner so it frees up more space artificially. The drawback is that the seats in the Myvi are not as comfortable and not as well supported, not as well sculptured as the Ativa. So you win some, you lose some. Now, after this, it really does changes your perception that not all SUVs are more spacious inside. To drive, they are worlds apart. Worlds apart. The Ativa is just so much more composed, so much more advanced, so much more sophisticated in its ride and handling. The NGA platform, I've sung praises, many praises in my previous videos, and I cannot give enough credit to the DNGA platform. It's just superb. Comparing to the Myvi, driving them back to back, when going over bumps and undulations, the Myvi feels very hollow. Ativa, solid, firm but not uncomfortable. Turbocharged 3-cylinder petrol engine, super peppy, walls of torque in the low and mid range, very responsive. It's much more livelier to drive compared to the Myvi in the city. But that's where the advantages of the turbocharged engine ends, because it lacks the refinement and elegance in the larger capacity 1.5 litre 4-cylinder unit in the Myvi. At highway speeds, it feels like the Ativa is being squeezed for power, whereas the Myvi is just a lot more relaxed. The larger capacity 1.5 litre engine at 110 km per hour is just registering less than 2000 RPM, so it's just effortless for the Myvi. The Myvi is also the more fuel-efficient car here. Based on WapCar fuel consumption test, it returns 5.9 litres per 100 kilometers versus 7.4 litres per 100 kilometers, which we're doing in our Ativa. And that translates to 20% more fuel efficient and 20% of fuel cost savings. In an ideal world, I would like to have the 1 litre 3-cylinder turbo engine in this Myvi,
and this 1.5 litre 4-cylinder natural aspirated engine in the Ativa. Yeah, that'll be perfect. Based on our WapCar NVH test, both cars registers the same decibel reading at 60, 90 and 110 kilometers per hour. But does that mean that both cars are equally as quiet? Well, not quite. You see, the limitation to our dB meter is that it doesn't break down the type of frequency it's recording. But subjectively, I can tell you that in the Ativa, you get a little bit more wind noise compared to the Myvi, which is expected of an SUV with its larger frontal area, being taller, not as aerodynamic as a low-slung hatchback. Whereas in the Myvi, you get a little bit more road noise because the undercarriage is not as well insulated as the Ativa. But overall, both are quite acceptable in terms of NVH. So there you have it, all the pros and cons between the Myvi and Ativa. Both are very similarly equipped, equally as capable, but serves very different functions for different consumers. For me personally, my pick would be the Myvi for one very simple, I would say also superficial reason, is because the rear door cuts fit my large size water bottle. So yeah, consumers usually make their purchase decision over one very little reason. So let me know in the comment section below, how would you pick? I want to hear your thoughts. As always, thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel for more videos like this. Rolling and action. But the drawback is that you don't get a more at 58.